what about the idea that we may be victims, for lack of a better word, in this lifetime, but might also be the victimizer in another life?
Well, there's a triad there. It's perpetrator, victim, and rescuer. And humanity has been playing out that triad again and again and again for millennia, with each soul playing each of the three roles many times. And as I understand it, what's happening now, the Earth is in the process of moving from the third dimension to the fifth. We're actually already in the fourth. So there's a tremendous amount of light, divine light, coming onto the planet. It's bringing up all the darkness for the purpose of healing it, and that's why there's so much chaos now. But when we get to the fifth dimension, to this higher dimension, there's a paradigm shift that's going to happen. And this triad of perpetrator, victim, rescuer, I think for the most part, and perhaps entirely, is going to be left behind. In other words, we're leaving behind the learning through suffering paradigm and moving to a stage of evolution where you don't have to do that anymore.
Wow. Well, let's go down that rabbit hole. First of all, let's talk about the fourth dimension. You said that we're already in the middle of that one. Please explain what you mean by that.
So let me explain first why I say what it is that I'm saying. The books are based upon channeled information from what I consider to be very high and very reliable sources, including Jesus, who plays a large role in the second book, Your Soul's Gift. And in my private hypnosis practice, when clients get to the Council of Elders, very frequently they're given information about what's happening with Earth's ascension. So the same information is coming to me again and again and again from these multiple sources. Again, what I've been told by Spirit is that we have moved from the third dimension into the fourth. And the fourth dimension is a dimension that's at a much higher vibration than the third, and there's a lot more light coming onto the planet. Well, light has the effect of bringing up whatever is unlike itself. So it brings up the darkness for the purpose of releasing and healing it. And this is why there's so much chaos going on now. Every person has many, many false beliefs, literally in the thousands, and most of them are subconscious or unconscious. And then you have entire countries that have their own karma from whatever has happened in that country over the years. And so all of this is now being brought by the light to the surface so that we can recognize it at the conscious level and then decide how we're going to go about healing it. I've actually asked in personal channeling sessions, what is going on with President Trump? Why is he the president right now? And what Spirit told me is that we all asked him to play this role, and that he has actually been preparing for it, training for it in multiple lifetimes for many, many years now. So he has perfected this role. He's playing it to the hilt, and it's a form of service to us. Essentially what he's doing is giving us a meaningful choice. And the choice is between love and fear, where he represents fear. It's a choice between spirit/soul and ego, where he represents ego. He's showing us the fear-based, ego-based way of making decisions so that we can quite clearly identify it and then make a meaningful choice. Choose something else. Choose love, choose spirit.
Right. We have never seen this kind of contrast before. So I absolutely understand what you're talking about here. I wonder also in this space of the fourth dimension, is this why so many people are, awakening to psychic abilities, for lack of a better way to put it? Because it does seem like more and more people are becoming a lot more open to information.
I think that there's no question there's a worldwide spiritual awakening going on. And I'm absolutely certain that is why I plan to do the work that I'm doing in this lifetime, and also why I plan to start it at a particular age. I started with this work at age 40, and I believe that numerologically is quite significant and was timed so that I would be doing this work, and many other people doing meaningful work along the same lines, because we need to enhance and facilitate this worldwide spiritual awakening. Part of the awakening is the development of psychic abilities, and many people are bringing those online, so to speak, now. The interest in the subject that I write about, pre-life planning, is exponentially greater now than when I first started doing that work. And I think the idea of pre-birth planning is in the process of moving into the mainstream. I think it will get there at some point in this lifetime. And future generations, I think it will just be common knowledge for them. They'll just be talking about it like they talk about the weather now.
Right. Yeah. I'm right there with you on that. I know so many people who've been trying to, well, they've been doing this work for decades, but nobody's interested in hearing them except other, the little pockets of friends. But now it is really sort of becoming mainstream. Not a fan of that phrase, but maybe it's because the time has finally come, and those of us who have been practicing for so many years are now truly comfortable with what we're saying. We've become experts, et cetera. Like you've been doing this for so long. Now, if you're asked questions, you have an answer like that because you've become so well versed. But let me go into now the fifth dimension, because you say that's upcoming. First of all, what is the fifth dimension going to look like, and how far away from it do you think we are?
I can't say that I understand fully what the fifth dimensional experience will be like, but I do understand that the fifth dimension is a dimension of union or unity consciousness. So again, we're moving from unity consciousness as an intellectual concept to an actual experience. Now, the experience that I described walking down the sidewalk, the one of unconditional love, that is not something that I would call a unity consciousness experience. It was different than that. So I don't feel that I have had in this lifetime an experience of unity consciousness, and therefore I don't really feel qualified to describe what that's going to feel like to people, but it is my understanding that that is where we're headed. And in terms of how long it will take, I don't think that anybody really knows the answer to that question. And the reason nobody knows the answer is that it depends on our free will decisions. So essentially, if we make loving, love-based decisions, we'll get there faster. If we continue to make fear-based, ego-based decisions, we'll get there slower. And the exact timing is totally up to us.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Now, this is something that I read in one of your books that I'd really like to ask about. You've discovered that there is pre-birth planning with our future pets. I think anybody out there who's got a fur baby would love to know a little bit more about this.
So in my second book, Your Soul's Gift, there's an entire chapter about the pre-birth planning we do with our pets. And it's really a very touching story. It's about a soul who in this lifetime is named Marcia. And Marcia plans, for reasons of her own, to be a dwarf in this lifetime. She's actually 4 feet 8 inches tall. So it's foreseen in her pre-birth planning session that many people are going to judge her, condemn her, think badly of her just because of her height. And that in particular, this is going to be an issue when she's a child, because we all know children can be quite mean to each other, and it's foreseen that the other children are going to tease and ostracize her. So the discussion comes up in her pre-birth planning session. What can we do to support Marcia through this very difficult experience, especially as a child? And the answer that they come up with is for her to be surrounded by many pets who will love her unconditionally through the experience of being teased and ostracized by the other children. So it's fascinating because in her pre-birth planning session, all of her future pets come in, and there are cats, there are dogs, there are horses, there's even a rooster named Crooked Beak, and they come in and they speak with such eloquence and such intelligence. You find out in that pre-birth planning session that the souls of these animals are just as intelligent and perhaps even more so than human souls. And basically what all the future pets say to her is, we are going to love you unconditionally through this very difficult experience. And so, for example, one of the horses says to her, you will come home from school and you will have been teased and bullied that day and you will feel sad and depressed. But then I'm going to say to you, come on, jump on my back and we'll ride like the wind. And so this is the kind of unconditional love and support these future pets offered to her. And this is exactly how it played out in her life. She's had a very difficult time, especially as a child because of her height, but all the pets loved her through the experience.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for listening. Check out Castle Gate, a novel based on my own ancestral healing journey, at lisabanese.com. In 1921, 4 men set off from Scotland to the United States. Will Garrock, his brother Pete, his son Willie, and his nephew Thomas, all coal miners. They left behind the miners' rows and the nationwide mining strike with its soup kitchens. Their destination was Castlegate, Utah, where they had kin to welcome them before sending for their wives and children. They prospered in America, working in one of the finest mines in Utah. Until that tragic day, March 8th, 1924. Disaster struck. 3 explosions, trapping 171 men inside. Rescue crews worked tirelessly for days, but sadly, they could not save a soul. Women were widowed and children were orphaned, and some never recovered from their broken hearts. Castlegate is the true and tragic saga of a Scottish family whose dreams of finding their fortunes in the bountiful coal mines of Castlegate, Utah during the Prohibition era explode in one of the most devastating mine disasters in American history. Learn more at lisabanese.com.